Next, it was meant to open this year, but it looks like the first HS2 services from West London to Birmingham won't start running till as late as 2039 and cost £7 billion more than originally planned, to the tune of more than £100 billion. In fact, the whole line won't be completed until as late as 2043. And we'll do the maths for you. That's another 17 years. As for those services from Euston, as opposed to Old Oak Common, best let our political correspondent Simon Harris answer that one.
HS2 became a symbol of this country's decline, a massively overspec'd folly, the world's most expensive slow-motion car crash.
The Transport Secretary was scathing. High-speed trains carrying passengers should have been crossing the new Colne Valley Viaduct in West London this year. Now it'll be another decade at the earliest before HS2 opens, and the final price has ballooned.
It gives me no pleasure to say the expected cost of completing HS2 is now between £87.7 billion and £102.7 billion, priced in 2025.
In 2013, £19 billion was the estimated cost of building the line from London to Birmingham. Now it could be 5 times that, potentially more than £102 billion. Ministers blame the Conservatives for allowing the project to get out of control, but the Shadow Rail Minister said civil servants shared responsibility.
It's true that the early years of the HS2 project were beset with delay and cost overruns, with HS2 Limited failing to maintain tight control of the budget and, frankly, Department for Transport allowing them to get away with it.
The design specification for HS2 is now being questioned. The project boasts impressive structures like this new viaduct in Birmingham. But did it really need expensive tunnels under West London and the Chilterns? Not to mention a £100 million tunnel in Buckinghamshire to protect bats. One way of trimming costs is to cut the speed limit from 220 miles an hour to 199 miles an hour, but that's only going to save £2.5 billion. And today's announcement sheds no light on when a new station at Euston will replace the temporary London terminus at Old Oak Common.
The tunnels from Old Oak Common are being dug at the moment, but there's still no final design for the station, let alone an estimate of how much it will cost.
It seems unlikely HS2 trains will arrive at Euston before the 2040s. Ministers had considered cancelling the project altogether, but concluded rather than save money, it would cost almost as much as finishing it. Simon Harris, ITV News, Euston.
Wes Streeting has warned against the government treading water as he gave his resignation speech in the House of Commons. The Ilford North MP resigned as Health Secretary a week ago and intends to run in any contest to become a Labour leader and Prime Minister. Our political correspondent Simon Harris is in Westminster for us this evening. Simon, did Wes Streeting put the boot into Keir Starmer?
Lucrezia, when Wes Streeting quit last week, he said the government was drifting and instead of vision, there was a vacuum at the top. But anyone expecting a fiery attack on the Prime Minister would have been disappointed. Addressing a half-empty House of Commons chamber, Streeting said leaving the government had been an emotional wrench.
I left the government because we are in the fight of our lives against nationalism. And it is a fight that we are currently losing. Unless we change course, we risk handing the keys of number 10 to reform. And I do not want that on our consciences.
Streeting even praised Sir Keir Starmer for keeping Britain out of America's war in Iran, but he said Labour needed to deliver real change.
Never waste a minute. That's been my mantra in government, and it's why I don't believe our party has time to waste in government treading water.
This didn't seem like the speech of an ex-cabinet minister wielding the knife. Instead, it felt more like a pitch to Labour MPs to try to win them over, which of course he needs to do if he's to get enough of them, Lucrezia, to back him in any leadership contest during the summer.
All right, Simon, in Westminster, thank you. Next tonight, Sir Sadiq Khan could have a legal fight on his hands to make Oxford Street traffic-free. The new leader of Westminster Council has got involved and dismissed the Mayor's grand plan as a vanity project. Well, the Tories took control from Labour after this month's local elections. They fear the project will cause big disruption and want the council to take a closer look. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
In the welcome warm sunshine, the pavements in Oxford Street were packed today. But soon these shoppers will be free to walk in the middle of the road. Or will they? 2 weeks ago, voters threw out Westminster's Labour Council and installed the Conservatives. The new administration is considering a legal challenge to Sadiq Khan's plan.
This is not what Oxford Street deserves. If we're going to do it, it has to be done right, and it has to be done by listening to people locally who really know it.
But you could end up going to court.
If we have to, we will. I have teeth, I'm willing to use them, but what I would like to do is sit down and negotiate and make sure that we come up with something that really works for everyone.
The Mayor wants to ban traffic from a 900-metre stretch of Oxford Street from Selfridges to IKEA. But opponents, including some residents, are worried surrounding streets will become gridlocked.
Sadiq Khan has set up what's called a mayoral development corporation to effectively take control of this part of Westminster. The new leader of the council thinks it's an abuse of power, but the mayor has the backing of the government.
At City Hall today, the Mayor was challenged about his controversial scheme.
You failed to publish postcode analysis of the consultations and left it to the elections to prove to you that residents hated your scheme. You cancelled a fully funded £90 million Westminster scheme after £23 million had already been spent. And you failed to adequately consult disabled groups.
In relation to the specific point around disabled groups, the Disability Advisory Group, accessibility specialists are co-designing Oxford Street. We've got the Independent Disability Advisory Group, TfL's working with the team, a Mayor's Design Advocate with lived experience working with the team. So very much the Oxford Street Development Corporation are working with disability groups to make sure we have the best possible scheme.
Business groups have largely expressed support for the plan.
It creates a safer environment for our guests, it makes it easier for people to get around, and it creates a real safe haven within London for people to visit.
Sadiq Khan hopes the first part of the pedestrian scheme will be unveiled before the end of summer. But thanks to Labour's election defeat, he now has a fight on his hands. Simon Harris, ITV News, Oxford Street.